everyone, Courtney here with Bionic Blaze clothing, two-time cancer survivor and amputee. I was just thinking about when I was first going through chemotherapy and how scary it was. That was probably, I guess it was 20 years ago at this point, the first time that I went through chemo. And I felt very lost. There was not really a ton of resources for people, young people especially, on going through cancer or going through chemotherapy or going through anything that I was going through. So it was really challenging. I felt very alone in a lot of ways. So it was something that I had to figure out for myself. So I was thinking that it would be nice to be able to give some advice on what exactly to look for on different chemo treatments and what that looks like, and probably what everyone's kind of thinking about, like how bad is it, and but I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of a overview of what to bring, because I think that that's something that's super important. One of the biggest things that I always needed was something to distract me, and that usually meant like a movie or a TV show that I would watch. And this was back in Netflix days where you had to get the mail-in DVD, and you can sometimes, if you wanted to pay extra, you could get 2 or 3 DVDs. So it was definitely challenging to get new and interesting stuff back then. So it's definitely a new world. So I always recommend pre-downloading any videos, movies that you might have that you want to watch, or TV shows, or episodes and things like that ahead of time, because there is a lot of times the Wi-Fi at the hospital isn't necessarily great and everyone's using it, and that can be really frustrating if you're wanting to just zone out. So I think that that's something to kind of think about, is like, what do you want to watch? I probably watched the first 4 seasons of Grey's Anatomy like 6 times. Just comfort stuff is really important. Bring headphones, obviously, because you most likely will be on the outpatient chemotherapy. You'll most likely be in a room where there's a lot of people, or a lot of times they'll have it partitioned off so that you're not with everyone, just going through it. But there are some times where you're just like literally in a row of chairs, and it's definitely not private. So that's outpatient chemotherapy. Inpatient chemotherapy is when you have to stay the night. That really depends on the type of chemo you're having. When I did methotrexate, which is a really strong chemotherapy, I had to stay for a lot of times a week, because essentially you have to have your the chemo pumped out of your body, otherwise it'll kill you. So that's a little bit scary, and so they have to kind of keep an eye on you and keep an eye on your levels. But back to what to bring for things. I always liked to bring really cozy stuff, especially when I lost my hair. A beanie was always really important. Hospitals are always cold for various reasons. Like, there's never a time where they're actually warm, so I always made sure I had comfy, cozy stuff. I invested in a couple of zip-up hooded sweaters as well, like really lightweight, kind of soft ones. And that's just because you'll have to get your blood pressure checked, and sometimes it's cold, and then it kind of sucks to have like your pullover sweater half on, half off, because you do have an IV somewhere in your arm, or if you have a port, it'll be in your port, which is typically on your chest. So it's good to have that zip-up sweater in order to make sure that everything's accessible for all the things. So that's something that I always made sure I had. And then really, really cozy blankets. Those are things that are really comfortable and nice to bring. And I would always bring everything in a weekender bag. And a weekender bag is kind of what it sounds like. It's stuff that can, like, big enough to fit for a weekend. So I always had that, like, main stuff in my weekender bag. And I sometimes would bring scarves, like those really big billowy scarves if I was feeling really cold. A lot of times with chemotherapy and the saline solution that they put through your body, it's really cold, because it kind of has to be. And so you can imagine you're having cold saline going through your blood. It makes you really, really cold. So definitely lots of cozy stuff. And the blankets at the hospital are disgusting and scratchy, and they don't stay warm for very long. A neck pillow is always something you should really invest in. I got a really nice one where you kind of just, like, rest and you're, like, already resting on something all the way up here. And I say that because there's really nowhere to lay down in an outpatient chemotherapy situation, because you're literally just sitting in kind of a recliner chair. It might lean back further, but it typically is not as far as it's not all the way flat. So definitely have that stuff in mind. For sleeping, eye masks, those really soft earplugs, because I would a lot of times just leave my headphones in, but those start to hurt your ears after a while, and then it makes it hard to, like, use headphones later. So the really soft earplugs are definitely an important thing to have, just so that you can sleep, because you will get tired. And so maybe you won't get tired, but it's just to have that stuff there. Definitely get a nice eye mask, a nice soft one, because they don't turn off the lights ever on anything. And I can put some links in the description below to kind of show you what exactly to buy, the things that I really enjoyed and appreciated for that stuff. So yeah, lots of cozy stuff, lots of soft stuff, lots of things that bring you comfort. I also really invested in really soft socks, but that have grippies on the bottom of them, because a lot of times it's hard to, like, get your shoes on or anything like that. So if you do need to get up to the bathroom, at least you have grippy socks on, because again, the hospital socks suck and they're scratchy and thin. So it's just one of those things that you kind of want to have your own stuff for. Obviously wear loose, comfy clothes, comfy pants, because you will be sitting there for a really long time. Yeah, that's just for my outpatient little checklist. I will put that in the description below, all those little links and stuff, but definitely bring your iPad. Definitely bring your cooler of food, because a lot of times you might be in a food desert, or, it'll be hard for your family members to get in and out to bring you stuff. So I always brought cooler stuff, of food that I could actually eat, because a lot of times when you're going through chemo, you have a very weird appetite or no appetite, and so anything that you can choke down is really important. I'll delve into this more, and I'll go more into the inpatient chemotherapy situation, but I wanted to kind of talk about that for a little bit right before work. But if I don't leave now, I'm gonna be late. I'm the boss, I can't be late. All right, see you guys later.